Welcome to Prost Brewery in Northglenn, Colorado, a true German-inspired gem serving up incredible brews and authentic German food. Let's take a quick tour of one of my favorite spots in the city. Out front and on the side, you'll find plenty of seating for hanging out with your family or friends. And out back, you'll find a spacious outdoor beer garden, which is the perfect place to enjoy a pint with your friends, soak in the sunshine, and even catch some live local music. Inside, Prost boasts a stunning bar with over 40 taps. There's something for everyone. Of course, while I was here, I had to order my favorite dish, the lemon chicken hummus salad. Look how good this looks. Prost isn't just about great beer, which they certainly have plenty of. They also have plenty of space for you to enjoy a meal with your friends and family, or even host a special event with large groups. While upstairs, take a quick tour where award-winning beers are crafted. Recently named a rising star at the 2024 Brewbound Live Awards. Prost also earned a gold medal at the World Beer Cup for their Biergarten Lager in 2024. This is one you don't want to miss. If you're looking for a quieter spot, head upstairs. It's perfect for private events, corporate gatherings, or just a relaxing place to enjoy your drink away from the action. Now let's head into the conference room where I hosted my First-Time Homebuyer Seminar. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and Prost.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for coming to my First-Time Homebuyer Seminar. I appreciate you taking the time to come and get learned on the home buying process. Show of hands, who here owns property?
Nice.
Congratulations. The first topic we're going to talk about is I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself so you can get to know me, and then we're going to talk about the home buying process, and then if you have any questions at the end, we're going to be all ears for you. So I am a licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams. I'm also a preferred agent with Vesta Divorce Organization, helping people get through divorce and transition with the real estate. Things that they kind of remember about me is my ability to negotiate a better price and concessions, my frequent communication with deal updates. One thing I provide to all my clients is that I'll help them move in and out of their properties. And my thoughtfulness and desire to build a long relationship that'll last a lifetime. I have previous experience before I was an agent working in the asbestos, mold, and restoration world. So I bring that experience to my real estate to be able to identify issues with properties that could come up on inspections to help hopefully save you guys money when it comes to concessions. Okay, so a little bit of timeline about myself. In 2015, I graduated from UW Stevens Point in Wisconsin, and I studied environmental sciences, specifically soils. From 2015 to 2018, I was a health and safety professional at a casino, doing a lot of OSHA-related safety. From 2018 to 2024, I was an environmental consultant and project manager. And then in 2024, I became a licensed real estate agent. And so some of those skills translate over to real estate because when you're managing projects, it's the same thing as manage people and trying to manage contractors to get bids, to make sure if you're listing your house, to manage all the contractors to be able to get bids to try to work out how much in concessions that the buyer might offer, as well as when you're a buyer and you're trying to figure out ways on the inspection to get money off, managing the contractors to get bids so that you know how much to ask for on the repairs. As well as another thing I would want to add to that is having that health and safety background. Some of the things that come up on inspection reports aren't necessarily issues with like the roof or the foundation, but things that would be considered health and safety items. Things that have to be up to building code, things that might be outdated and the building standards have changed. So having those, a knowledge of building codes helps when it comes to asking for concessions. Here's a couple of reviews from some of my past clients. The first one is a sell. I was able to secure the homeowner an offer on opening weekend. And for that one, we filmed a really nice drone tour of the property. It came out beautifully, and I helped the homeowner edit it. He filmed the drone tour himself, and then I edited it for him, so it was pretty cool. The second one was a divorce case. It was a purchase. The homeowner has a current property that is going to be going on market soon. Once the divorce is finalized, and being able to get him into a condo and maintain that home ownership while he's kind of leveraged was pretty important. One thing about divorces is sometimes the person has to go back to renting, and no one really wants that, so being able to get him a condo was pretty big. Back in 2024, Keller Williams Integrity, the brokerage that I work for, we helped over 200 families become homeowners in 2024, and we're trying to beat that number this year. And home ownership, I believe, is one of the most important things you can do, because you're building equity for your future. When you're making those rent payments, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. You're not investing in yourself, and that's what's important about being a homeowner. So let's get into the home buying process. This is going to be a nice, short and sweet process. It's not overly complicated, but some nuances of it can kind of be confusing for the first-time home buyer. Hello. Are you here for the home buyer seminar? Welcome. Hello. We're just about to start.
Yeah, right on time.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Elena.
What's that?
Elena.
Oh, nice to meet you, Elena.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Rianne.
Okay, you're not going to take our video, no?
No, just the screen.
Okay, so this is the home buying process. Here are the 8 essential steps to buying your first home. So basically, the way I've ordered this is from the moment that you decide, hey, I'm going to buy a house, to the moment where you become the homeowner, you get the keys. And the way I ordered it is kind of the way that you want to go about it in the process. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check your credit score. The credit score you have determines which lenders will work with you and what kind of loan that you get, as well as the rates. A lot of people will start looking at homes just to kind of see what is out there, but until you kind of get your finances squared away, it doesn't really give you a good idea of what you'll be able to afford. The important thing is being able to know what your price range is, so that when you're looking at homes, you don't fall in love with a house that you're not going to be able to afford on the lending side. And that is important for saving you time, as well as everybody involved in the home buying process.
So is it just the person who's going to end up on the mortgage that they check your credit for? So let's say if I'm married, right?
Yeah.
It's just the person.
If she's going to co-sign for you,
Then
yes.
they look at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can buy a house and be married, and only one spouse is going to be on the mortgage. That's
Correct.
totally fine.
Yep.
So what about 2 brothers?
You can even put
As
your
long as
spouse on your title.
if you're going to co-sign with your brother, if your brother's
What
going
is
to
that?
co-sign for you, then he'll have
Title
to
means
be
that
free.
they have ownership in the home.
Okay.
No.
But if it's just going to be grant on the loan,
Gotcha.
they don't even
So
care
right now
about
I
what you do.
have a borrower, she
But
is on the mortgage.
what they could possibly
Her husband
do
is on
is
the
that he's
title,
gonna
so she
rent
dies. Right.
If you
and
put a
joint
formal
tenancy,
lease
the
agreement
house goes to him, but he's
with your
not.
brother,
Okay.
even if it's
The rest
just
is
in writing and not
Yes.
official, they can use
They can
the
just-
lease payment to qualify
Yes.
your mortgage payment.
Yes.
Because that's
Yeah.
income coming
Just in
in.
case,
Does that make sense?
you know,
Yeah,
your
right.
wife's a stay-at-home mom, she doesn't qualify for it. Just
Right.
show
Does
up
it
on
look like
the
it?
state.
Is that making sense?
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he asked, what if you and your brother buy a house, but the brother's not going to be on the mortgage? And then I said, hey, if your brother is on a lease agreement with you, like a formal lease agreement, they can use that lease payment to qualify as mortgage.
As rental income?
Yes.
Yes, so whatever he is paying you to live there, you can use that as income that you get to qualify for your mortgage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So even if you're not going to make your brother pay a security deposit, or if, you know, you're not going to kick him out if he misses his payment, that having that lease document helps in the pre-approval process.
Exactly.
Any questions?
No, actually it was a homeowner and then went through the one spouse, two spouse, and first-time homebuyer program. So is that what you guys want to do?
That's what we're trying to do, but this, I mean, the spirit of this seminar wasn't just for first-time homebuyers, it's for people who maybe own a property and it's been 10, 20 years and they just kind of be refreshed. But if you are a first-time homebuyer, you never bought a house, there are special rates and like mortgages set up that'll assist you into home ownership.
So I think for a first-time homebuyer program, it's like rolls every 7 years, I believe, right? So if you use it like, we used it in 2016, 17, so
You should be good.
yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that refresh.
It does, yes.
It's like a bankrupt
It's like
every
you're,
8 years.
yeah. It's like now you're a first-time homebuyer again, 10 years.
Okay.
Bankruptcy's 10 years.
Oh, bankruptcy, yes.
When did you-
First-time homebuyers less
When
though.
did you buy your condo?
2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it at least. At least I don't have to pay capital gains.
Exactly, 1031.
Okay, well, after checking your credit, the second thing would be to talk to a lender. We have a lender here, Reed, with Fairway Mortgage.
Yes.
She'll answer at the end.
Fairway Independent Mortgage. Fairway?
Oh, okay.
If you have any lending questions, we'll try to save them towards the end if this presentation doesn't answer. But before you start looking at homes, the first process is to get pre-approved for a loan to kind of see what price range that you should be looking in. Knowing exactly how much you'd be able to borrow sets your budget and shows sellers that you're serious. Putting in an offer on a house before you have a pre-approval is kind of a no-no because homeowners, they don't know if you can actually afford it. So an agent or, if you're going to try to, God forbid, do it yourself, when you put in an offer, you always want to put in the pre-approval letter with the offer so the buyer knows, or the seller knows, like, hey, this is what this person can get. So shopping around and comparing lenders to ensure you get the best loans, even though Reese from Fairway Mortgage, I personally recommend getting at least 2 or 3 opinions to see, if there's any leeway there. There's different, they work on different systems. They're not always going to be, $100,000, $200,000 apart. They might be pretty close, but it's always good to get second or third opinions. This is very important. This is like super important. I can't stress this enough. If you're going to get a pre-approval, have at least 1 month of pay stubs where if you're hourly, have at least 40 hours on every single pay stub for that entire month. If you're like hourly, let's say there was a week where you took off and you had PTO and you had 35 hours, now that's going to drop your pre-approval down, and then it might not be able to maximize what you can get because under 40 they have to average your earnings. So I had a client who was pre-approved for $580,000, and there was a week where he took off because he was sick, 2 days, and it dropped it $50,000 because of that. So if you're hourly, make sure you have at least 1 month of 40-hour pay stubs. Another big thing, do not buy a car, do not buy a boat, do not make any big purchases.
All the furniture.
Yeah, do not put a bunch of like 10, 5, 10,000, I like that tip. 5, 10,000 on your credit card because then they're going to look at that and say, well, now you have all these payments you got to make, so that's going to affect your pre-approval. There is a thing called CHFA, Colorado Housing Financial Assistance. It's available to everybody, and that's down payment assistance. Every single state has a form of down payment assistance that's available. Usually it's up to a max of $25,000 or 3% of the total mortgage amount.
I think it's 4%.
4%? Okay. So 4% of the mortgage. The requirements of these is you have to complete a CHFA application. You have to have at least a $1,000 down payment, so they still want you to have a little bit of skin in the game. So $1,000 versus $25,000.
And that can be a gift as well.
Yeah.
So if your dad or your uncle gifts you $1,000, you can use that $1,000 towards your closing costs. That's fine.
And then you have to have a credit score of 620 minimum.
Correct.
There's one other kind of thing that you have to do is when you get approved, part of the requirements is that you attend a class. It's free to attend. You just have to, go and show up, and they'll teach you, how to basically be a homeowner and how the mortgage process works to kind of get you, up to speed. So you'll have to go through that class if you get down payment assistance.
Does that only apply for first-time homebuyers?
No, that's anybody who gets CHFA.
Okay. And what are the income restrictions,
Ooh, the income restrictions for CHFA? I don't remember there being an income restriction.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check on that though.
I know in Florida, because I work a lot in Florida, there's, I want to say it's like, I think a cumulative total. So like it's dependent on who's going to be on the loan, what the combined income is. If it's a single income, it's like one threshold. I don't know what Colorado's would be.
Yeah, they do. They go by single versus married.
Right, household versus,
Yeah, let me double check on the income restriction
Okay.
and I can get back to you within
Question.
24 hours.
Do you have to pay that back?
No.
And not only do you not have to pay it back, but it also gets wrapped into your mortgage. So you won't have two payments.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah,
Wait a second, I have a question. So
Sure.
we actually went through the program CHFA, and then I think we did pay that 1,000 down. So we had extremely high mortgage insurance, right? So it was like $600 or $700 or something. And there were two loans, basically 19,000 CHFA, and then other one forward we got pre-approved. So when we went to refinance, they both kind of got summed together, and then we got rid of that 19 CHFA loan. So the question is, you have to pay it back, right?
Well, so there's not like a time frame in your mortgage, right? So if you go and sell your home, or like you said, do a refinance where you're getting rid of it, then you pay back that amount. So you said yours was 19,000. You pay back only that, no interest, and there's not a time frame during
Okay, so
that you have to pay it back every month,
Okay.
just at the end. So if you're gonna pay it off, be either refinance or sell, then you just pay back that one lump sum.
Okay, because my understanding, if we refinance, so we can get low percentage and get rid of the mortgage insurance, right? So,
Right.
and if you do refinance, you can't keep that separate loan, you have to pay it off, right? So.
Yeah, if you're refinancing.
But it gets wrapped into one.
Mhm,
So it's not like you have to pay it back separately all
No,
up
yeah,
front.
they
Exactly.
wrapped it and then kind of it was all like compatible.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So if you use this program and you want to do more than 4%, can you pay more and still use this as far as
Oh.
down payment?
I had the same sense, like, can you do, because we didn't, can you do the CHFA and also like throw like your 5 or
Yeah.
10K
Yeah.
or no?
What do you think, Reed?
I want to say no, but I cannot remember. I've only done one CHFA and it was last year. So I'm not 100% sure if you can do that. I guess it depends are you using it to buy down your rate? Are you using it towards your closing costs instead of your down payment? That, it kind of depends.
If it was buying down the rate, then like it'd be separate.
That would be separate.
Yeah.
So then, yes, you can do that.
So that would be a way to get around that. If there is a CHFA limitation, you just throw that into buying your rate down.
Exactly.
So what do you mean separate? Like,
So you wouldn't do the 4% for your down payment assistance and then put more on your down payment. You can buy down your interest rate or put it towards like your closing costs. I
so you
believe,
can
yes,
talk
you
to
can do that.
your real estate person too.
To your lender, yeah.
I would imagine though that if you have more money to be able to put down,
You would really.
Then you might hit.
it might not even let you do it because then it's showing like, hey, this person has the ability to pay.
Right.
And that's where we run into those potential income restrictions.
That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the sickest part. You have to have a good credit score, but your income can be, I don't remember, the restrictions, because they do look your income. If you make kind of enough to not qualify for CHFA, then you're not going to get it.
Well, even if you, and we're gonna get into that in the next slide, like, even if like, maybe you don't have 30,000 to put down or, 20%, you could always get an FHA loan. An FHA is 3.5% down minimum. So, I mean, and that still comes with mortgage insurance, and we'll kind of get into that in a few slides, but, you know, CHFA is really more for people that are making less than between 80 and 100,000 a year, either single or joint. Anybody making over that, it usually is going to be a lot more difficult, and those numbers, they're not specific, but it would be tough if like your income is over 100,000.
How do they look at your income? Is it your just a gross or like adjusted, adjusted taxable income?
It's based on your taxable income.
Yeah.
Okay, so then yes, it drops down then from the gross.
Right.
Okay, so figure out how much you can actually spend, and then one thing to keep in mind is that even, let's say you're approved for 500,000, it might not necessarily be wise to get a house at 500,000 because you still have to figure in utilities, food, car payments, like all the other payments that, and you don't want to max out and basically have nothing to save every month. You want to at least save, you know, whatever you're comfortable with, but you don't want to basically pay all of your paychecks to the mortgage and your bills. You want to kind of give yourself a little bit of leeway. So let's say your max pre-approval is 500, maybe looking at like 450 to 475 range so that you have a little bit of a cushion. So one of the things that, or some of the things that makes having a real estate agent necessary and things like this is one of the most complicated things about real estate transactions is the contract to buy and sell. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one, but they're over 30 to 35 pages. They can be very complicated, especially when it comes to condos or when it comes to land, things that aren't necessarily straightforward. So one of the things a real estate agent can provide to you is the expertise on that contract, being able to negotiate favorable terms and knowing what would be good to ask for and what might not necessarily be good to ask for. On an inspection report, when you get back, like maybe there's some scuffs on the paint or some scrapes on the flooring, that might not necessarily be as important as, say, an outdated electrical box or a water heater that is 10, 15 years old. So a real estate agent will go through that inspection report for you and kind of lay out what are the things that are important. Obviously, it's always up to you as to what you ask for, but the things that you ask for will really kind of dictate how the seller responds. And if they respond in a way that's very negative, that could easily break the deal in a house that you really like. One of the things they'll do is help you save time and money on searching for the property, making sure that the properties that you're seeing, you know, through email or through text or, you know, when we go and look, they're kind of in your price range, they're what you're looking for. Not wasting time with properties because, you know, you can easily look at 20, 30 properties and that takes a lot of time. And then getting advocacy, it's always good to have your back. It's the same thing with like if you're going to court to fight for your freedom in terms of getting an attorney. It's the same thing with having a real estate agent when it comes to having a house. Having somebody that can navigate and guide you through these very complicated waters, especially when you're working a full-time job and that, you know, you have to submit a piece of paperwork at 9 a.m. and you're at work and you can't do it. Having somebody that can do that for you can make or break the deal. And then another very important thing is making sure that all the deadlines are being met. You know, when you put in an offer on a house and it gets accepted, one of the things that you put down is what's called earnest money. Earnest money is dictated by the seller. It can be negotiated just like everything else, but that's like kind of like a, I wouldn't say down payment, but that's like a way to show the seller like, hey, this person's serious, and this is what they're going to put down to hold the property and take it off the market and put it in pending. Sellers will obviously sometimes accept backup offers, but if you're first in line and you know you're under contract, no one else can take that from you once that earnest money is put down. And in order to get that earnest money back, there are deadlines with that transaction. There's inspection deadlines, appraisal deadlines, and if for any issues comes up, like any issues on the inspection that you don't want to fix, if if you terminate before that deadline, you get that earnest money back. So that's protected, and that's something that one of the most important jobs of the agent is making sure that those deadlines are followed, so that you're not losing $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, sometimes even $20,000 of earnest money. And then one thing about a buyer's agent, when you guys are purchasing a house, for the most part, the buyer's fee, the agent's fee, is paid through the seller. Now, if you guys have heard about that NAR settlement last August, did you hear about that with the realtors? You don't know anything about it, a little kind of quick and dirty of it is that there was a lot of agents out there who weren't being very transparent on who was going to pay the agent if the seller wasn't. And so as an agent, I'm required now to have that conversation up front, which it should have been to begin with, is that if you like a house, legally I have to show it to you. If the seller isn't willing to compensate me, the conversation that must be had up front is, okay, well, if we put a contract on this property and the seller isn't offering anything, what are you willing to compensate me for my time and expertise? Those are conversations that should have been happening, but now, because of that lawsuit, we're required to have that up front and, you know, to have like documentation signed that those conversations were taking place. Any questions? Okay, so now that you've gone through the pre-approval process, you got your pre-approval in hand, now it's time to go to house hunting. So making sure that your agent knows, like, you know, you're looking for a 2-bed, 1-bath with a fireplace, high ceilings, close to a school district for your children, close to a gym, like all those little details beyond just like the square footage of the home, the size, the condo, townhouse, or single family. Those little details will kind of really make or break like what you want to get. You know, like if you want to be close to a supermarket, you want to be close to your college, you want to be close to your work. Those are little details that really help the agent being able to find exactly what you're looking for. So here's a little bit of quick and dirty on different kinds of loans that you can get. So Bree, maybe go through the conventional FHA and VA.
Yeah, so with conventional, minimum 620, and so your down payment typically on that is a minimum of 5% down. And so FHA, that's where we can get a little bit lower, right? So you can go under that 620, under that 5%, you can get this minimum of 3.5% down. VA, obviously, you have to be a veteran, and we check that through, what is there's a form. Doesn't mean if you have used a VA loan in the past that you can't use it again. It just depends how much you have used in the past. And then you can get into assuming previous VA loans, but that's kind of tricky to do. So yeah, the main two are going to be conventional or FHA.
And do the rates, are they pretty aligned between conventional and FHA, or are they different?
Slightly different. It also is going to depend on your credit score and your income, your DTI, all those things, but they are slightly different, yes.
Does it say 500 score or 10% down? Is it 500, is it for score?
According to the FHA's website, if you have, some lenders will go down to 500 credit score,
But you have
to put 10% down.
Instead of the 3.5.
That's kind of just because of the risk involved with it.
Yeah.
So most lenders will go to about 580 minimum on
Right.
FHA for that 3.5%.
Yeah.
But with FHA, is there a mortgage insurance?
Yes.
Yes.
There is.
You don't
Yeah.
get all of it.
Yeah.
It's a conventional product, or it depends how much you put down.
Yeah. Conventional depends on how much you put down to get rid of that.
So with an FHA loan, if I have a house, like let's say I have a condo and I want to buy a second home, is there any, and I want to get an FHA for that second one, is there any requirements in order to be able to get that FHA loan for that second property?
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
That's all right. You have to be a minimum of 100 miles away. So
Okay, well, there's certain requirements, but
if
they
you
can tell you the
buy a
requirements.
house and you have a house, like let's say you have a conventional, and then you buy a second house and you want to use an FHA, that second property has to be at least 100 miles away from that first one in order to get an FHA.
Is it to prove residency or?
What's a primary residence?
Okay.
Because FHA is only supposed to be towards primary residence
Gotcha.
and not rental properties.
Gotcha.
So then that first one, if you're going to keep it and rent it, they don't want people using FHA loans to build a rental portfolio.
Right.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, to primary.
So in your situation, FHA might not be the route to go unless you sell the condo.
Yeah, it's probably gonna have to happen anyway.
So basically, if you still get stuck with the mortgage insurance based, I don't remember what's the percentage, is it like 10 or 15 of the value, market value to not have a mortgage insurance? But then CHAPA is the best option then if you still want to be stuck with mortgage insurance.
Yeah, FHA and CHAFA, you'll have mortgage insurance, but the idea is that, like, let's say interest rates drop in a year or two, you can refinance and get rid of that.
Or like house value mortgage happen in both.
Yeah. That you're going to want to do once you make it through all those things, the inspection, the appraisal, is that you and your agent do a final walkthrough to make sure that the condition of the property is exactly how it was when you first looked at it 30 days ago. I had a client who, we walked the property and then we put in an offer 3 days later, and between that 3 days when we first looked at it to when the inspector came in, which was 5 days from when we were first there was a flood in the basement.
Oh.
And that affected a lot. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. There was ceramic tile flooring, and I have a good restoration guy who came and did a free water intrusion inspection, and it was just cosmetic. It wasn't like they had to do flood cuts and tear out stuff. So we proceeded. Finally, one of the things that I like to do to all my clients is if whether you're buying or selling a house, I'll help you move. That's very little. It's a very small service, but it can save a few $100 on moving costs. I just won't move a piano or a safe. No pianos, no safes.
Like a fire safe?
Maybe like a lockbox, but not like a full metal, like...
Not like a gun safe?
No.
No gun safe.
You're going to have to hire a pro for that. But your furniture, your boxes, I got you. So to sum up, this is the end here. So the first thing you want to do is check your credit score. Second thing, get pre-approved for a loan. Figure out how much you're going to spend. Don't look for houses at $400,000 if you're pre-approved for $400,000. Leave yourself a little bit of a buffer for bills. So maybe looking at $350 to $375 if you're up to $400. You don't want to go all the way up to the end there. Then that's when you go house hunting. So don't go house hunting until you know what you're going to be able to afford. Make a fair offer. You don't want to insult the seller by offering $100,000 less. Unless it's like a fix and flip, then totally do that. But if it's a nice in-shape property, that's just a waste of time. It takes about a half hour to draft that contract to buy and sell, and be even longer if it's complicated going back and forth with the buyer and the seller of what they want to put in that. So just to save everybody's time, try to make as fair an offer as you believe based on comps and based on the market. Right now it's a slow market, so it makes sense to ask for 20, 30 grand under with concessions. When it drops to that 5% of what everybody's waiting for, that might not be the time to ask for concessions, because you're probably not going to get them.
Probably going to be a bidding war.
It'll be a bidding war for sure. And you're even still kind of seeing it in some places right now, just not as much as it was during COVID.
Right.
You make the offer, it gets accepted, schedule a home inspection. The home inspection comes back, go through the objections with your agent. Make sure that what you're asking for to be repaired is reasonable. Not have them, paint the trim on a door that might have a chip in it. Something that very major and costly.
I definitely
I didn't know that was a no-no.
Well, I mean, it depends on how bad, right? If there's like a drywall hole like this big, maybe have somebody patch that.
There was a light fixture that was a little wiggly and they were pissing me off.
Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't.
I'm not buying this $3,000
Shame,
property
shame.
because of a paint chip.
That happens.
Absolutely.
That happens.
People get married to properties, we do.
It happens. So then after the home inspection, you order the appraisal comes back okay, or the appraisal comes back not okay, you're gonna have to negotiate for that reduction in price or come up with a difference. Everything comes back with the appraisal, then you close and you move in. And make sure, a little tip, make sure that you change the locks. When you buy a house, you never know, the seller might still have spare keys, so change the locks. And if you have a security system that's coming with the house, make sure that you change the login information so that they don't log in and watch you. Little things like that. You don't think about that stuff. So that's it. There's all my socials. Oh dang, I cut the hose.
You did, yeah.
Oh. They're really loud. Do you really
Oh.
power off?
Yes, please.